All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to a Thursday night stream. It is September 30th, 2021. Typically, it takes a minute for me to get these out because it takes YouTube a pretty long time to process 4K videos. But that said, welcome to Engineering Major Philosophy Minor, the channel where you can get a working aerospace engineer's opinions on topics pertaining to engineering, philosophy, politics, various other social and cultural issues. And today we're going to be working on Citrus Valley a little bit more. We're going to be working on expanding the downtown to the other side of this bridge. And as a matter of fact, I need to rebuild this bridge because see how there's like some earth here? I need to get rid of that, raise the bridge up so that basically I can pass this road underneath there. Obviously, we're going to do something to resolve this loop right here. But yeah, so downtown is going to get extended over to here. And I haven't decided what I'm going to do along this slope right here. It's a pretty steep slope, so there might be some bizarre stuff going on. But I definitely want to get it so that I have a good amount of density of buildings, you know, surrounding this freeway exchange right here. Or maybe at least to kind of this area right here. Might be tough to sneak a road past here. I think maybe only the trolley line will go past there, although we can make that into a road trolley line so it actually has zoning availability. So anyway, I'm going to get right into that and start playing the game here a little bit. And while I play the game, of course, we are going to talk about various political issues at this point. It seems like, you know, every day something new happens, or there's some new, you know, government mandate or some new thing. And today I was, you know, I got done at the gym. I trained arms today. Was feeling really good about it. And yeah, so I got back home and I was thinking, okay, you know, I want to stream tonight. I want to, you know, make some videos tonight. And before I do that, you know, I'm just going to chill out. I'm going to grab myself some dinner and I'm going to turn on Timcast. You know, I really love Timcast. You know, Ian, yeah, I always complain that Ian says some pretty dumb stuff sometimes, but I still like Ian. You know, I think it would be fun to actually, you know, have a real conversation with Ian. But that said, so I look at the, you know, the Timcast title. And let me just read you guys what the title is of Timcast here for a second. Democrats' new bill mandates vaccine or test for domestic flights. So I come in and, you know, I immediately see this headline and I'm frustrated immediately, you know, so because it's time to hop on the stream and talk about it. And where to begin? I mean, first off, let me tell you my story of lockdown and COVID and stuff like that. So basically, what happened was, you know, I was working, and you know, it was let me just say it bluntly at first, and then I'll explain it more specifically. So I pretty much never really locked down my life completely, despite you know, the mandates of Gavin Newsom back in my wonderful paradise of utopian communist paradise of California. I never stopped working. I always went into the office. It was requested that we work from home. I did not want to do that. And I got up every morning, you know, suited up, you know, put on the clothes and basically went to work. And not only that, but I had to travel pretty often for work. Have no problem doing that, by the way. Oh, actually what I wanted to do was get some soil. Well, boy, that's weird that it just left it floating there, huh? You know, I had to travel for work. I was, you know, constantly, well, not constantly, but, you know, I was on airplanes quite a bit, you know, or driving out to job sites. So, interestingly enough, one thing that happened to me while I was working is we got a, you know, new person in our group, and she was a, you know, really good addition to the team. Really intelligent person, you know, fresh out of college, and oh no, that's not good. Fresh out of college, and you know, when you're coming fresh out of college, you know, especially as an engineer, you know, you're really excited, you know, because most of the time you've spent, you know, your entire, you know, past 4, maybe even 5 years of your life just kind of sitting in the library and being completely antisocial. Well, at least if you went to University of California, San Diego, which I did, which is a, you know, despite being a liberal paradise, you know, is a very, very prestigious academic school. And, you know, from that perspective, like, I did not do a whole lot of partying in college, I'll be honest. I was constantly in the library. So anyway, you know, you're really excited to get out there and, you know, test your skills and, you know, see what engineering is really all about in, you know, the real world. And I sure wish that wasn't sloped like that. Let's see here. You know, it's so close, but I don't like it. In fact, I think I'm gonna have to bump up the level of this bridge just a tad here. So let's go ahead and get rid of this. So you're really excited to just, you know, get out into the, you know, actual world of engineering. And of course, you know, right when she, well, not right when she joined on, but shortly before she joined on, you know, the lockdowns were implemented, right? And this is really unfortunate because it was, you know, a pain for her to get set up, basically. And she wasn't going to get the opportunity to, well, not at least she was if I had anything to do it. She wasn't going to get, you know, some of the same opportunities that, you know, a kind of freshman engineer would get if there weren't lockdowns, you know. And for me, that's really sad because, you know, coming out of engineering school, it's really the, you know, the first 2 years that you're working, where you're really just, you're learning so much so quickly. There's, you know, a lot of different things going on. You're, you know, discovering a ton of different things about how applicable your college skills are. You know, you're figuring out how to balance, you know, practicality of things. You're meeting a ton of new people. And in the case of this new hire, you know, we obviously have to travel for work. And so, you know, she was going to get the opportunity to go out and travel for testing and stuff like that, for engineering type testing. And things of that nature. And that, you know, that's really exciting for somebody who's just getting out of college, you know, ready to show off their skills and everything. But unfortunately, there was the lockdowns. That being said, you know, I fought tooth and nail to make it so that she would be able to come on business trips with me, because I wanted to make sure that she got the experience and exposure that would, you know, really be beneficial for her her career, which is obviously just like budding and stuff like that. And obviously, you know, we traveled a number of times over the winter when the, you know, the spike was the worst and the hospitals were all crazy and stuff like that. No issue, right? Never a single issue. None of us got sick from travel. Now, I'm not saying that I know for certain that, you know, no one ever in the history of COVID has gotten sick from airplanes, but, you know, it seems like it's pretty rare, especially because, you know, again, this just goes back to, you know, kind of like the common sense practices. It's like, you know, we know that there is, you know, a pandemic going on, and so everybody should just be able to do the best they can. And if you're sick, you know, you don't get on an airplane, right? And I had to travel a lot more than this new person, but, you know, we weren't allowed to like share a rental car and stuff like that. You know, she wasn't super comfortable driving certain places, which is totally understandable because, you know, we were going to like these, you know, winter stricken areas of the country where there's, you know, snow and ice, and she'd never driven in conditions like that, and it would have, you know, overall been better if she had somebody familiar with the area driving her. But anyway, she had to, you know, drive herself, and so we had to make sure to follow each other and stuff. It was completely inefficient, and really, you know, for not much reason at all. So, you know, then I see, so anyway, I basically, you know, I worked the entire time. You know, the director of my department came by my desk, and at one point, and man, I'm really struggling with this right here, huh? The director of my department came by my desk, and I was like, hey, are you gonna force us to work from home? And he was like, no. If, you know, he himself said, I am going to come in until, the only reason I won't come in is if I'm sick. You know, and there's something about it that, you know, I know a lot of people really enjoyed working from home, but for me, there was something about, you know, suiting up every morning and just going in and getting a job done and going home and doing this, you know, despite any potential risks. You know, there's something about that felt very rewarding. It's unfortunate that, you know, a lot of different people did not really get to, we're not willing to kind of experience that. Let's see here, pass this under here. Oh wait, it can't be that close because I need to bring the trolley line next to there. So, just pause this for a moment. Get rid of this. So it was just, for me, it was, you know, rewarding, and I just kind of felt like I was going above and beyond, you know, which is not really the sole reason I was doing it, was to get that feeling, but still, it was just kind of like, yeah, you know, I'm going to work. And, you know, my dad, pretty much the same way. He was like, you know, I've worked my whole life, you know, I've worked 2 jobs my whole life. Like, I'm going to work, you know. The interesting thing about my dad's attitude, though, was that he was perfectly fine with the government telling other people that they couldn't work. But of course, you know, he wasn't going to stop working. And, you know, that's the whole thing here, is it's like rules for me, but not for thee, kind of attitude, which was, you know, which is the whole reason why, which is part of the reason why this whole, like, you know, mandatory vaccine on travel is so frustrating, because it's like, you know, you guys get to fly on private jets and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's not the, it's like the liberal elite, you know, will never suffer any real consequences for this. You know, it's just, you know, the filthy plebeians, you know, that have to figure out a way to exist in kind of this environment. And it's not, you know, the left's always talking about fairness and equality and all this stuff. I mean, this is the perfect example of something that's really not fair. you know, you're just going to prevent people from seeing loved ones, and, you know, make people feel ashamed for, you know, whatever they might have going on in their life, and it's I don't know, it's the perfect way. They want to just, like, it seems like, I should say, this isn't for certain, but it just kind of seems like they're intentionally trying to just, you know, ban a certain group of people, you know, from polite society. And so it's frustrating. And then on top of that, you know, the data just doesn't, it's not born in the data at all that that travel on airplanes is really responsible for, you know, significant rises in cases, you know. And, you know, let's go ahead and take a look at another thing here too. Oh, I don't want to bring the whole thing over, just this one. So, you know, here's the plot. I don't know if this is allowed to be shown on YouTube anymore at this point. But you know, here's the plot of new cases, and you can see that we're just on this drastic downslope already. So, you know, this is very typical of the government to come in, and it's like, not only is it a too little too late solution, which obviously, you know, as the spike goes down, they're going to say, oh, you know, the reason why the spike's going down is because we, the government, did such a good job. But not only is it too little too late, they're going to put a huge burden on businesses as a result of this. And you know, the airlines are already struggling to recover, and then on top of that, they're just, like, blasting away people's freedoms and you know, right to a personal choice and privacy when it comes to medical care. And unfortunately, you know, the airlines are just going to go along with it. But you can see, even, you know, the new cases per day was obviously not nearly what it was, you know, back in, like, January 2020. Now, it's arguable that, you know, this curve right here could go up again, but again, you know, cases doesn't really matter. You know, look at deaths. You know, a peak of like 4,000 deaths versus, you know, maybe around 3,000, 2,000 deaths. I mean, quite fewer amounts of, you know, deaths per day as well. It just kind of, like, I don't know. I mean, I don't really see the point of any more of these government edicts, for sure. Let's see here. Finish what I'm doing here as well. So, you know, I read this headline on Timcast, and I'm just like, God, you know, it's like, you know, they have people more freaked out now, even though we have a vaccine and we have therapeutics, and, you know, a lot of people have had it already. Like, people are more freaked out now than they were, you know, when the whole thing first started, and there's just no reason for that. So let me just say the obligatory thing that I probably need to say, you know, for YouTube's sake, which is that, listen, like, you need to, and this is a sentiment, you know, similar to what Tim Pool would say, and it's not me trying to copy him, you know, it's just the way I legitimately feel. Like, you need to be diligent in your own life to make your own decisions about your own health. You know, you need to do the research, you know, don't just listen to me, you know, some random person on YouTube. Like, you know, you need to take the responsibility and, you know, understand what your own health risks are, and, you know, be sensitive to what your own health outcomes are going to be, and then just make an informed decision for yourself. And also, you know, making sure to consult your doctor. Now, I know a lot of people say, like, oh, well, bro, like I don't trust my doctor or whatever. Well, then you can find a doctor who you do trust, first off, and I realize that that can sometimes be easier said than done. But you also have to realize that, you know, your doctor only knows as much. Oh, that looks nasty. I don't like that. Your doctor only knows as much as you're willing to tell them, and you have to remember that your doctor is typically trying to do some problem solving as well. You know, they're trying to figure out what the best treatment is going to be, and this and that, and it's important to, you know, be sensitive to that, and you know, help them help you. So it's like if you don't trust your doctor, you know, you can always like just talk to your doctor and be like, hey man, like this makes me a little bit uncomfortable. Can you explain why, you know, why you have this position on that or whatever? And your doctor is typically going to be nice and be like, oh, okay, yeah, I get that. You know, it's because we're trying to mitigate this, and we're trying to deal with this other thing. And then you can be like, okay, well, you know, you can go back and forth a little bit with your doctor, but bottom line being, you know, talk to your doctor, figure out treatment plans that are right for you, and, you know, make your own informed medical decision. Now, the problem is that, you know, it seems like the Biden administration doesn't want you to do that for whatever reason, and for the life of me, I can't understand why. I mean, yeah, I can't understand why, you know, or maybe I can't understand. Ooh, that's an aggressive slope. I didn't mean to make that so brutal. Oh, we can use this tool. Maybe to here. Yeah, that's looking good. But yeah, you know, I can't understand for the life of me why. It's just such a challenge to just have allow people to just make their own, you know, health decisions. I feel like the assumption, you know, then this gets back to like what happened in Soviet Russia. It's like the assumption, there's no assumption of innocent until proven guilty. You know, it's just guilty until proven innocent. It's like if you know, don't want to get the vaccine, or uncomfortable, you know, disclosing your vaccination status, or, you know, or for whatever reason you just don't want to, it's like that automatically implies that what you're trying to do is intentionally go out and like infect other people, and that's just not the case. And what happens when we get into these, you know, bizarre controls put on by the regime is no one like trusts each other, and then people are very willing to, you know, enforce the rules on each other because they legitimately feel like others are a threat to them, you know. So, you know, one thing is I discovered today was I was listening to well, I didn't just discover Jordan Peterson today, but I was listening to a Jordan Peterson interview, right? And he was talking about his book Maps of Meaning, which I have listened to on audiobook. Unfortunately, you know, honestly, I would have rather actually read the book, like a paperback or a hard copy, because you know, I like to go through and highlight passages that, you know, I think are meaningful and stuff like that. It is definitely a really dense book, not for the faint of heart in terms of you know, just like comprehension and understanding what's going on, but it's a good book. But he was talking about, in this interview, he was saying, you know, when he wrote Maps of Meaning, he was actually, what I want to do is I want to unpause this. So I want to loop this around here really fast so the trolleys can find their way. Or maybe I should just complete the trolley line. So I want to bring this trolley line like all the way back, kind of along here, and then have it meet back up somewhere over here. Probably not at ground level, probably somewhere over here. Yeah, so maybe the best thing to do is just continue to finish out the trolley line. And one thing I may want to do, which is really weird, is actually... Where are we here? I want the 2-lane road with... Two-lane road with tram tracks. And right about here, I'm actually going to upgrade this. And the reason why I want to do that is because now there's zoning along here. And I want to make sure that I really get density all around this freeway exchange right here. And some of it's gonna look a little bit strange because this road... Oh yeah, what's gonna happen with this road, huh? See, I don't want to make this as wide here because I want to make sure I get full density on the other side. So this, where this road terminates, is probably going to look a little bit strange. But we'll see. Maybe I'll bring it into a 2-lane with trees, like somewhere around here, something like that. It's going to be a bizarre area. Anyway, when Jordan Peterson was talking about his thought process behind writing maps of meaning, he said, you know, I was trying to solve the problem. He said, I was trying to solve a problem. And he said, in some sense, it was the problem of, you know, the Nazi prison guard. Now, what does he mean? What does he mean by that? Well, what he wanted to do is he wanted to understand how a person could become like that, you know, like the Nazi prison guard, and not just like how any person could become like that, but he also put a little bit of the burden on himself. He said, I wanted to know how I personally could become like that. Not saying that he is like that, but basically saying he was wondering if it was possible for him, you know, because everybody assumes in their own mind that, you know, they're a good person typically, right? I mean, maybe there are, and this is, Solzhenitsyn talks about this too. I mean, maybe there are some people who, you know, recognize that they're evil, and this is when Solzhenitsyn compares, he makes the comparison to, what's the character's name from Othello? Anyway, you know, this character in Othello basically goes on this monologue saying, you know, oh, you know, I'm so evil and I'm gonna commit all these evil acts, and you know, basically just gives up the game, right? For himself. But you know, typically, you know, Solzhenitsyn would argue evildoers don't typically give up the game like that. You know, the real evildoers are typically those who think that they're doing good. And they're going along with things that they think are good and just kind of ignoring countervailing evidence or atrocities that are happening. Maybe they're not aware of them or they're willingly ignorant, whatever. So, you know, this is why Jordan Peterson said in this interview, you know, that's a big problem to solve, because most of us won't know or assume that, you know, we're going to be the perpetrators of evil. That is really tall, but I think that actually looks kind of cool coming out here. So, you know, anyway, Jordan Peterson talks about this. And unfortunately, I may have kind of lost my train of thought here as to why I started talking about that. And that's really unfortunate. But anyway, you know, the where I wanted to get to with that discussion is essentially, you know, I wanted to I wanted to do a little bit of maybe like role playing in this episode, and I want you to imagine yourself as, you know, one of the Nazi prison guards, or one of the guards in the Gulag, or, you know, one of the people responsible for the killing fields in Cambodia, you know. And let's first just imagine the situation. You know, in Nazi Germany, imagine that you are tasked with loading people onto rail cars, right? And we all know where those rail cars go, or I take that back actually. Maybe you don't know where those rail cars are going to go, but you know that you're really densely packing people onto these rail cars, right? And you can see there's women, there's children, there's men. You can see that some of the men have obviously, you know, have bruises on their face and black eyes. You can tell that they've been beaten, and you're crowding these people in there. I mean, really shoulder to shoulder, to the point that they can barely move. And you don't know exactly where they're going, but, you know, you've heard stories that the journey can be extremely long, and, you know, typically there is, you know, food is not going to be rationed out, and you can tell that these people are quite miserable. You know, maybe they, again, you know, a lot of them look like they're beaten and disheveled. And I want you to imagine yourself in that situation. And I want you to imagine looking at all their faces, and you're standing at the door of the rail car. And you could easily just not close the door of the rail car and, you know, set these people free, right? You could just let them go, no problem. You know, there would be consequence to this, right? You would likely get punished. But what is your, you know, think about what your attitude is going to be. Think about how you're feeling when you see all those faces. You see all those children. There's kids crying. There's women crying. People are scared. You can see the look of fear in their eyes, and you're the one in charge, and you alone have to close that door to the rail car. Oh, that's really annoying that that keeps giving me a wonky looking curve. But so I want to now focus on what you're feeling right now, right? What you're probably feeling right now is something along the lines of, you know, oh, EMPM, why are you saying this? You know, that would never, that would never be me. You know, I'd let all these people go or whatever. You know, I'd be the righteous one, right? But I want you to imagine a different perspective from your own feelings. I want you to imagine that you're young. You know, you're in, I mean, maybe you're young watching this, and what I mean by that is you're in your early 20s. Maybe you're not even in your 20s yet. Maybe you're in your, maybe you're a teenager. Maybe you're 18, 19. And you've been taught your entire life that these people that you're putting in this rail car are actually completely evil. Every bad thing that's ever been, you know, every bad thing that's happened in your life is because somebody like these people sabotaged something of importance. And if it were not for them, then your life would be completely different. Maybe if it were not for them, you'd have the girlfriend you'd wanted, or maybe if it was not for them, you'd have the job that you wanted, or maybe if it was not for them, you believe that the country would be in, you know, a much greater degree of economic prosperity. Now, when you imagine yourself in that situation, and, you know, I can imagine myself in that situation, And it's frightening, because if you really believed that every ill fortune that has ever befallen you is somehow related to these people that you're packing on the train, and you don't necessarily know where they're going to go, but maybe at that point you don't actually care. Space already occupied? Maybe at some point you don't actually care. Now think about what you're going to do. Are you going to close that? Are you going to close those doors? Yes or no? You know, are you going to let those people off the hook? Probably not, right? You're probably going to just do your job. You know, so said many a soldier of that time. You know, and oh no. And guess who went through that exact, you know, thought process that I'm describing? Many a Nazi soldier, many an MVD or Cheka member in Soviet Russia. You know, many a young lad in the Khmer Rouge. You know, the army of Cambodia. Many people went through that exact same thought process. And you can see how they were, you know, you can see what incentive they were or what choice they were prompted to make. I mean, it goes without saying, right? I mean, these atrocities happened. So, you know, I want the reason why I wanted to describe that is not to make anybody feel, you know, bad about themselves or anything like that. It's to shed some light on the types of things that are happening right now in our country. And I know I've said this on you know, previous episodes before, but I think it's really worth repeating. Is, you know, you really need, like, you yourself need to look yourself in the mirror and really think about who exactly you're going to be. You know, are you going to be that person who closes that door on the rail car? You know, are you going to be the person who, you know, calls people up, fires them from their jobs over, you know, vaccination status? Are you going to be the, you know, the person at the ticketing counter that refuses to let people on airplanes and stuff like that? Are you gonna, you know, are you gonna believe the idea that, you know, your life would be wonderful if it weren't for this, you know, awful group of people who, you know, are just not following for whatever reason, you know, certain government mandates? Because you know, it's a hard decision. You know, it's a harder decision than you might think, because you have stuff on the line, right? I mean, it's not just, I gotta measure this. I'm having trouble talking and doing this at the same time, but so you're just gonna have to make a choice, you know. And again, there's a lot on the line, because, you know, most people don't want to lose their job. This is so hard to measure. I think that would be flat. Let's just bring it down 2. Oh no, it's too big of a curve. What a pain. Start putting this down right there. Here. So you know, there's eventually for everyone there's going to be something for everyone. There's going to be something on the line. You know, and I'm not trying to tell people, you know, to go one way or the other. I'm just saying, you know, it's important to think about the situation and think about who you would be. Yeah, you know, I mean, back to the story that I was talking about at the beginning, where we had a new person on our team, and you know, I wanted to make sure that she, you know, got the opportunities and experience that, you know, I got when I first started working. You know, I had to, you know, speak with multiple people constantly about sharing rental cars and, you know, weird stuff like that, and how we were going to work this out. But, you know, I really wanted to make sure that this person got opportunities, and I did. And I'm happy that I did that, and I don't tell that story to brag. I tell that story because I personally think it was a okay, that looks good. I was happy that it turned out that way, you know, and I was happy that I decided that was the kind of person who I wanted to be. You know, that was the kind of environment that I wanted to show, you know, this new engineer. So anyway, you know, moving on from that topic, you know, I don't know, it just saddens me that we're at this point. Let's see here. It saddens me that we're at this point where, you know, unfortunately there's going to be a ton of people that just go along with this. You know, people are going to get denied flights, or people aren't going to, you know, travel. People are already getting fired from their jobs. You know, there's an employment problem, and there's already an employment shortage and stuff like that, and you know, people are struggling, and it just kind of seems like it's just getting made worse constantly by, you know, government overreach. And here's the thing: I say government overreach, but just to wrap this up, of course I didn't finish building this trolley line. Is this a circle? Oh, gosh, I think I'm going to redo this here and really count this out. Okay, 1 second, guys. I'm going to wrap this up, but I want to make sure I count this out. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, but I need to look at it from a different angle. 1, 2, 3, 4. Time 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's level 1, 2. I want to go down 2 with every 90 degrees. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, up. 1, 2, 3, 4. That would be level 1, 2 down from there. Okay, that looks good. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we need to look at it from this angle. 1, 2, up. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. I'll try to bring it down this much. Yeah, that's looking good. A nice spiral. Okay. Gotta get this connected up. Okay, so wrapping this up, you know, tying it back to the beginning, I was really happy that that I got to give that I gave this opportunity you know, to my coworker, and unfortunately, oh, sorry, this is what I was talking about. I'm getting completely off track. This is not good for this stream. But here's the thing, guys. I want to keep streaming. I want to get better at this, and it's just kind of hard to multitask. So I say, you know, government overreach, but the reason why I keep, you know, harping so much on this idea of, you know, who are you going to be, is because at some point the government actually doesn't need to do anything more. You know, at some point it's just going to be all of us people enforcing these things on each other. And we ought to we ought to be kind to each other. You know, we should do our best to figure out ways where, you know, we are giving people opportunities rather than taking them away. You know, we need to make sure that we don't end up like, you know, like these prison guards did. You know, because that's ultimately what Jordan Peterson reasons through, not only in his lectures but in his book Maps of Meaning, is that it was a, you know, moral failing of each individual that caused these crises of the 20th century to happen. You know, it wasn't. I mean, surely, you know, surely the government made the conditions, made ripe conditions for this kind of thing, but at the end of the day, it took just everyday average, you know, normal citizens enforcing it on each other for it to really be a reality. And that's, you know, that's unfortunately a scary thought. You know, we see it happening where, you know, people are freaking out about masks and vaccines and all this stuff, and people are, you know, more, again, you know, seems like they're more scared today than they were when, you know, caseloads and deaths were a lot higher. We didn't have vaccines and therapeutics and all this nice stuff. We're at the point where we're enforcing it on each other, you know. I mean, think about the nurses in, I think it was North Carolina, who, you know, all got canned recently. You know, somebody had to call them up and say, you know, hey, don't come into work tomorrow because you're fired. You know, someone had to make that call. Someone had to sign that paperwork. Someone had to draft up. All the documentation, you know, on the computer. So it's like, you know, all these normal everyday jobs. Okay, now I think I can unpause this. The trolley routes won't get all jacked up. All right. So that's let's see, it's been 48 minutes. I gotta grab some dinner, and then oh, the power's out. I gotta grab some dinner. I'm probably gonna hop back on the stream. I really gotta clean up these power lines too. It's gonna look really ugly, but just to get it connected up for now, just do that. Get rid of this. Yeah, no, I like the way that this looks here. You know. And of course we're going to, oh, there's 2 disconnections in the power? Come on, man. Yeah, so, you know, it comes down to, it's all these, you know, where seemingly minor, you know, just everyday average normal pedestrian jobs and stuff like that people do, and they don't quite realize necessarily what the results of their, you know, their job is actually going to be, but maybe they have a slight inkling, you know, if, like, again, if you're if you're the prison guard and you're about to close that door on that rail car, just looking at those people crowded in there, disheveled, and there's something inside you that's pulling at you, saying, don't do this. But at the same time, you know, there's another thing inside you that's like, well, I shouldn't do this, but, you know, these are the people who are responsible. You know, these are the people who need to be taken out of society, you know, and just for YouTube, you know, I'm not saying that because I want that, you know, I'm not saying that because I think that's the way that it has to be or anything. I'm saying that because it's very easy to imagine yourself having that attitude as just a normal, everyday citizen. And it's very easy for people to be in the mindset that it is, you know, that these other normal, everyday citizens are actually like the ones ruining your life. And so it becomes very easy for people to justify to themselves that they're actually doing good rather than doing evil. So that said, I realized that this discussion was a little bit disjointed. I think it's going to be like that for a little bit because, again, you know, I'm trying to get better at this, and obviously we're playing the game at the same time. But I'm going to go ahead and end the video here, and then probably hop on a stream later on tonight after eating and doing some other stuff. But we got this trolley line sent across here. There's going to be some high-density development all over this area. Once that develops out, going to do some landscaping in here, so it's just like a dense thicket of trees around here. So it's basically going to be developed buildings all around here, and then just like dense, you know, dense trees surrounding this, so that this this freeway exchange is really buried in there. I think that's going to look really nice. And I wanted to maybe connect this road up here around here, but it looks like it might be kind of a pain unless I tunnel it somehow, but we'll deal with that in the next one. So thank you guys for watching. Leave a comment below, and yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon. Later.